Hey y'all, I'm Megan and welcome to my YouTube channel. Just a little bit about me. I'm from North Carolina and I've lived there for the last 13 years. And I am now going to school in Nashville, Tennessee at Belmont University. I'm a freshman and I'm studying to get my BFA in musical theater and to declare a second major in social media management. And I really want to start this channel just to kind of document my college experience and being an actor, and to talk about the books that I like and the music that I like, and just to kind of make this like a video diary and just to share all my interests really. And this video in particular, as seen in the title, is about the musical theater college audition process. So this is something that I went through last year when I was a senior to audition for schools. Almost every BFA program, or all BFA programs, are audition based. So you have to apply academically and then you have to audition for them. So I want to talk about how I kind of got through that process, how I made my college list, my stats, pre-screens, and just everything involving that. So let's get started. How I made my college list. So it's really hard to decide what schools you're gonna apply to because there's so much information out there and they all kind of start to blur together. And there's all these top 10 lists, top 20 lists, top 30 lists, and you want to obviously go to the best school for your craft because you want to be the best actor you can be. So what I did was I looked at all those lists, I wrote down all those colleges, and then I also went to that TikTok filter that has all those like colleges that everyone was talking about maybe like 2-3 years ago, and I wrote all of them down, and then I started doing research about what cities they were in and what kind of programs they were, and just kind of looking for a school that might fit me. I narrowed it down to 14 schools. Some things that were really important to me was that I was going to be able to double major, and a lot of programs don't let you, so I emailed every single school I was interested in just to make sure that I would be allowed to do that. And then I was looking for schools that had strong dance and acting training, and I really wanted a school where I would have to sing in a choir because I really do love choir. It was a big part of my high school years. And I was also looking for a school that wasn't going to be crazy expensive and that just could be a great place for me to grow and to learn. And so I had 14 schools. If you want, I'll put up the list right here. These are the 14 schools I applied to. And actually the only reason I did 14, which is less than most people do around 15 to 25 schools, was because at the International Thespian Festival, the summer before my senior year, I went and I did like their little college audition process. I just submitted some videos and some schools called me back just to talk to me. And I actually got into a school through that and I really liked them. And I felt that I didn't have to apply to a lot of schools because I knew that if I didn't get into any more schools, I was plenty happy to go to that school. So I felt a little comfortable to do less, but some people did less than me, some people did more than me. It's all up to you. And with academics, people always talk about safeties, targets, reaches, because there's all those like acceptance rates. And that's really hard with BFAs because every program is really difficult to get into. And I would recommend looking into schools, seeing how many people that they accept. Some schools take less than others. And I really recommend applying for some smaller schools. I know you just want to look at the big names, but the big names are where everyone's applying and there's just a lower chance of getting in because there's more applicants. And the small schools can be the diamond in the rough, the one that gets you the opportunities and the attention that you need. And that can be the school for you even if the big name is not attached. But obviously you want to apply for the big names. So I would recommend, if you're doing 15, I would do about 5 safeties, 5 targets, 5 reaches, whatever that means for you and for your family. And now, stats. Stats are scary. Stats are a little different with this process. You do have to be able to get into the school academically to attend that school for a BFA, but sometimes the requirements are a little lower. It all depends on if they are rolling admission for their academics and if they accept you right off the bat, or if they're like an early action school. Sometimes they won't pass your pre-screen because you can't get into the school. So my GPA, class rank, test scores, extracurriculars, we're gonna get into all that. My GPA unweighted was a 3.83, and my weighted was a 4.35. And my class rank was 259 out of 558. And then for test scores, I know a lot of schools are moving to requiring test scores again. I did not take the SAT. I was not good at the SAT. I wasn't really good at any of the tests, but I took a prep course and I got a 31 on my ACT. And that was a score that I was very happy with. And then for extracurriculars are a little different. You have 10 spots on your Common App. You don't have to use all of them, but you can use all 10 if you want. And it's all about putting the extracurriculars at the top that mean the most to you, and you can leave off the ones where you maybe didn't do as much. You were just a member of a club instead of in a leadership position. I really showed off my leadership position, so I put that I was the head of a performing arts department for an online teaching organization where I taught ballet. And then I was a state thespian officer, and I was the president of my International Thespian Society troupe. And then I was a chorus captain for my choir, so I led sectionals, and I really highlighted some of the social media stuff I did because that was really important to me. I ran a bunch of different social media accounts. And then just a random thing that I threw on there, I played a varsity sport for 3 years. I put that on there. I just wanted to show that I was well-rounded, and it was something that was important to me. Not everything has to relate to theater, and you just want to put the stuff that is important to you, and you want to be able to describe it well. If you were the member of a club and you guys did a lot, that's really great, and you want to be able to write that out as best as possible because there is a spot to describe what you did. So kind of after you figure out what schools you want to audition for, you have to start looking at their audition requirements. Not every school requires a pre-screen. So a pre-screen is kind of the audition to the audition. It's just videos that you get to send in, and there's some different requirements, and it all depends on the school. But what's really nice is that there is a common pre-screen that a lot of schools use, which is usually, sometimes the requirements are a little different depending on the school. Sometimes they want you to pick certain options, which is your headshot, your resume, 2 contrasting songs, 1 monologue, a dance, and then a wild card, and then an optional ballet. And we can get into that stuff in a little bit, but that's what a pre-screen is. And those songs, they are usually, the requirements are that one is a golden age and one is contemporary. So golden age is like pre-1970. You want them to contrast just to show off your range. And then sometimes some schools there's also another option where instead of doing 2 musical theater songs, you can do 1 musical theater and a pop, or like a pop rock, or like a country song, a song of any style really. That kind of leads us into what did I sing for my pre-screens and what was in my book for auditions. So when I was coming up with songs I was gonna sing for my auditions, I had a voice teacher, which was really great. She was kind of known for the college audition process, but there are also like college audition coaches that you can hire online if that's something that you're interested in, but you don't really need any of that in order to pick your songs. So just kind of talk about the categories that I was thinking about when I was building my book for college auditions. I always want to have an upbeat contemporary, a ballad contemporary. Contemporary is post-1970, and those were musical theater songs, and then an up-tempo golden age song and a ballad golden age song, because you do get sick of your audition pieces and sometimes you want to switch it up a little bit at an audition, and I did that every once in a while just to make it feel fresh. And then I looked at my resume and I was like, are there any big roles on here that if someone asked me, can you sing this song, let me make sure I have the music in my book. So I had a song from that, and then I also had 1 song that I know I nail and I really love to sing, and then I had a pop song, and I had a classical song. And you might be wondering, why a classical song? So some schools, if they really want to hear like your legit soprano or like your class or your technique, sometimes they'll ask you for a classical song. I know people that got asked for classical songs in the room, and you just want to make sure you have one in your book if you know how to do that. And so I had an Italian like short little arietta in my book just because that's something I'd worked on before. But if you haven't worked on something like that before, that's okay, unless that's one of the requirements. Then you might want to search for an art song or an arietta. So then, talking headshot and resume. So my headshots, you don't need to get your headshots professionally taken. That's not something that they require. I just really wanted to have some headshots that I could use for the next couple of years. And so I got my headshots done by Daniel Rosales. Shout out to him. I'll probably put his information in the description below. I knew him from when I did the University of North Carolina summer musical theater intensive. He was one of the teachers, and he also did headshots as like a side gig. And I loved my headshots. I can put up some right here. And I got there was like a student summer discount, I think. And so I paid $90 to do 3 outfits, and it was an hour-long session. And then for my resume, I'll also put an example of what my resume looked like when I was auditioning for colleges. A lot of them want to see every single show that you've done in high school, as long as that all fits on your paper. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And then your training, and then your special skills. And I had some room, and so I also put vocal ensembles that was in, because I was in lots of different vocal ensembles. Specifically, I was in some honors choirs. I also got to sing at a Carnegie Hall performance, which was really cool, and I wanted to highlight that on my resume, so I put that. And then I put a couple of different awards if I wanted them to ask me about them. I was on this committee to for my county to kind of revamp our arts program, and so I put that on there, really hoping that someone was going to ask me about it. They don't always ask, and that's okay. But that was an example of my resume and just how you can format that. I just did that on a Google Doc. So for my pre-screen, so you have your headshot, you have your resume. Next, you have your songs, your monologue, and your dances. So your songs. I chose to do an up-tempo contemporary and a ballad golden age. Switch it up however you want. Just make sure you're following the instructions. And I made sure to film them. Most of them say to film around your waist to right above your top of your head. And sometimes they want a 32 bar cut, sometimes they want a 16 bar cut. It all depends. Usually they ask for around 60 to 90 seconds of your songs. For my monologue, some of them wanted a 60-second monologue, some of them wanted a 90-second monologue, and then some of them wanted 2 monologues. So I had one comedic and one dramatic, and I just sent them in along in my little file, because there is this website called Accepted. Accepted is kind of what runs the musical theater common pre-screen, and on there you just like upload your files into this one application. And then for my dance, I paid to have my main dance pre-screen done. At my dance studio, I rented out a studio space and hired one of the teachers to choreograph my dance. We did 2 little privates for me to learn it, and then I booked some studio space and I filmed it. And a lot of people do a jazz musical theater kind of dance, which is incredible. I chose to not, for no particular reason other than I really enjoy contemporary and like lyrical dancing, and so that's what I did, just because it felt like more me. You really want your material to feel you, because it's just what's representing you, and you want to be very authentic. And then for my ballet, I choreographed that myself, and I just put it to a random song I found on Spotify. And then lastly, there's your wild card. So the wild card can be anything, and they usually ask for 60 seconds, sometimes it's 90. And it can be anything. I know people that just do funny voices. Sometimes they sing a pop rock song. Sometimes they talk about computer science. That's what one of my friends did. I just put in my gymnastics floor routine from my senior year. I choreographed it, and it was just from a competition video, and that was it. Your wild card is just to get to know a little bit more about you, and to really show off one of your special skills if that's something that's on your resume that you want to show off. So how I filmed my pre-screens. So I filmed my pre-screens with my voice teacher. She knew a videographer, and we just filmed them at her house because she would play the piano for me. You don't have to have live accompaniment. You can just use a track. Sometimes they ask for just a piano track. That I don't know, but it all depends on the school. It'll all say in the requirements. But I filmed them, and I can just put a picture of what they looked like right here. But you don't need to do that. I can also show I have done many a self-tape at my house with just our little dingy tripod that we would record Christmas morning on, just in my bedroom, and that's what this looks like, and that is perfectly acceptable, I filmed, some of them want video essays, and so I did all my video essays in just that format. After you submit your pre-screens, you'll find out if you pass them or not. Not every school has a pre-screen. Some schools will just let you sign up for your audition, or they make sure that you get academically accepted first. You're not always going to pass every pre-screen, and that is okay. That doesn't mean that you're not talented. It doesn't mean that you're not talented if you get redirected to acting for a program. Every school's looking for something different, and there are some schools that are considered top programs that I passed, and there's some that I didn't, and that's okay, because I all ended up where I'm supposed to be, and you're gonna end up where you're meant to be too. So you sign up for your audition, and maybe it's a virtual audition, then they'll just send you a link and you do your audition. Or you travel to the state and to campus and you audition there, and every audition day is different. They'll send you all that information. Or there's something called Unifieds. Unifieds is when a bunch of colleges come together in like the same convention center or hotel, and they will have all their auditions in that one building. So there's one in LA, there's one in New York, and there's one in Chicago. I can only speak for New York because I only did New York, and I only did one audition at New York. But Unifieds are a little chaotic. I've heard some things about Chicago Unifieds. Chicago Unifieds are longer than the others. It's about 5 days, and that's during, I think it's a Saturday through a Wednesday. New York was just a Friday through a Sunday. But Unifieds are really great if you're trying to save money and do all your auditions in one place. And then there's also some schools that let you do walk-ins. So if there's a school that you were interested in that you hadn't thought of before, you can just walk into the audition if they're allowing walk-ins that day and they have time, which is really great. And you get to talk to the faculty. Those auditions are really great. Or just all the auditions where you just get to talk to the faculty are great. Usually when you go into your audition, they'll say hi, and they're gonna ask you where you're from and what you're doing, and then you'll sing, and then you'll do your monologue, and then they'll usually talk to you a little. They want to know about you, and they'll ask you a question. I got asked what my favorite dessert was, what I like to do in my free time. I got asked, because I sang a Taylor Swift song, what I thought about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Like, they just want to know you, and just be yourself. The second you walk in that room, they just want to see who you are, and you shouldn't be anyone other than yourself, because just because you're an actor doesn't mean you should be acting all the time. And then there's also a dance call that usually happens. Sometimes there'll be a warm-up before the dance call, not always. And the dance call usually happens either first or like later in the day. Some places had like it rotating where some people were singing, some people were dancing, and some people were acting all at the same time. It really just depends on the place. These are all for like the on-campus auditions. Actually, at New York Unifieds, before one of my auditions, well, I guess the only audition I did at Unifieds, I did another audition that weekend, but it was on a campus in New York. And this was an audition where I had to play a track off my phone because they didn't have an accompanist. I was in the bathroom and my phone fell in the toilet. My phone fell in the toilet, and I'm a kind of a major germaphobe, and so it was really gross, and I like washed the crap out of my phone, and I put hand sanitizer all over it, and I was a little distraught, like as anyone would be. And then I'm like playing my track into my ear. I'm like, oh, this sounds a little funny, but whatever. I go into the audition and I play my track, and it's not playing. Like there's water in the speakers. And I literally, in front of this audition panel, I have to go, I'm so sorry. I dropped my phone in the toilet before I came in here, and so I need to eject the water out of the speakers. And so I played that sound off YouTube that like ejects the water out of your speakers. And they were like, wow, this is so interesting. We didn't know how to do this. They just want to know you. And if something happens like that to you, that's okay. It's okay. I promise it is all okay. And honestly, it really distracted me from being nervous about the audition because I was so stressed about my phone. So everyone kind of has their own routine, maybe before a show or before they go into an audition. I'm a big person who likes to, I shake it out, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do that 8, 4, 2, 1. That really helps me. And then it's a pre-show routine that I have with one of my close friends. And so I always do that, and it always calms me down. And sometimes I do it multiple times a day. You know, you're nervous at auditions. It's a very vulnerable time. I drink a lot of water. That was my thing. I would drink so much water that my body would be literally freezing, and I would be peeing like 7 times a day. It was not a fun experience. But kind of what helped me get through the college audition process was this. I have kept an audition journal since I was in my sophomore year of high school. So all of this is every audition I've done since my sophomore year of high school. And so in here, let's see if I can find one from a college audition. Yes, right here. So this is the one where my phone fell in the toilet, but it was Viterbo University, or Viterbo University. So I can write that at the top, and then I wrote exactly what happened about how my phone falling in the toilet, and then I write how I felt and what they said and when I'm gonna get the results, and then I put the results down at the bottom, and then yeah, it really just like helps me reflect on my auditions, and I can like go back and see exactly how I was feeling at that very moment when I was auditioning. I wish I had one for Belmont because that would be so special, but I auditioned virtually. So I just sent in my pre-screen videos. So this is something that's really helped me over the years. And when we've had some like guest artists come and talk to us at Belmont about things that they do, is that they always talk about keeping audition journals, talking about what they sang and who was in the room. Who was in the room doesn't really matter as much when you're in doing college auditions, but in the future when I'm auditioning for professional things, I want to write down who's in the room just so I can remember them if I ever go in for an audition in front of them again. And I don't know, it's just really special to be able to have this, and it's something that's really worked for me because I'm a big I like to write my feelings down sometimes, and this has always really helped. It's like a diary, but like not a diary. It's an audition journal. Yeah. And it's really special because the first audition I have in here is from September 24th, 2022. My first time ever auditioning for the State Honors Choir. And then the most recent audition I've done was my dance placement for Belmont. And that was August 2025. That's just so special that I get to have all these memories in here. Okay, so that's kind of the college audition process. I know that this is a really scary time just of life where you're a senior in high school and everything's changing. You're about to leave your hometowns and kind of enter this new phase of life, and that's really scary, but it's also really exciting. And something that I always thought about during the audition process that really helped me is that these schools are auditioning you in the same way that you are auditioning these schools. They are trying to convince you to want to be there, because if they do let you in, they want you to come. So kind of think of it in the way that they're trying to get to know you, but you're also trying to get to know them. It's kind of like a two-way street. It's like dating, which I know is also a really scary thing, but they're just trying to get to know you in the way that you're trying to get to know them. And you're gonna end up where you're meant to be. And you might have a dream school set in your brain. I had a dream school, and actually Belmont was my dream school my junior year. Then it changed to another school, and then halfway through the process I auditioned at a school, and I was like, I love it here, I want to go here. I didn't get in, and then I was still thinking about Belmont, and I visited here, and I was like, this is my dream school. So everything happens for a reason. You're gonna end up where you're meant to be, and this sounds bad, but if you hate it, you can transfer, and that's okay. There's no shame in transferring, and there's no shame in taking a semester off if you want to take a little gap semester, or if you choose to take a gap year and do the process again. I know people that have done the audition process twice, and then they ended up where they were meant to be on the second time, and they're so happy now. There is no shame in any of that, and I know that it's a scary time, but I believe in you. And everyone that I know that was really stressed throughout the process ended up where they were meant to be, and they're all very happy right now where they are. And so thank you for watching this video. Follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. I've been posting a lot on TikTok, day in my life stuff, and some of that stuff's gonna be over here in a longer form. Feel free to check out Daniel Rosales Photography. He's absolutely incredible and made taking my headshots such a fun process. So yeah, all that information will be down below, and bye y'all. Have a great day.